Good afternoon and welcome to Faith Lutheran Church for our daily devotion and update for June 16th. I'm Pastor Mike Wygant. In the way of announcements for this week, just a reminder that if you're joining us for in-person worship, we will be having Lord's Supper for the first time. And we'll be doing it in a unique way. We'll be staying in our pews, and the information about that and how it's going to work, you can find that video format on our website. It'll be emailed out again as well. Our devotion today is recorded in Exodus chapter 3. An impossible task that had to be what it seemed like for Moses when God came to him at that burning bush. I want you, old man that you are, to go and rescue my people from Egypt. And he had to be thinking, now? What about all those years ago when I was a young man? I had been trained in Pharaoh's court, and I had empathy for my people and zeal, and I tried to put my best foot forward, and I ended up killing a man. I had to flee to the desert. I've been there ever since. Now? Impossible. But then the Lord reminds him every time he makes an objection of whose name and whose power stands behind him. Fast forward to the end of the story, and yes, indeed, Moses, old though he was, by the power of God and under the name of God, led this group of slaves and set them free from the most powerful, most well-armed nation on earth. An impossible task. You ever felt like that's what God has given us, His church? Go and be my witnesses, but we look around us and we say, yeah, but this doesn't seem to be an era and a generation that really will listen anymore. They celebrate things that are opposed to the Scriptures. They look at talking about faith and talking about the Bible as something silly or taboo. It's just socially unacceptable to do that, to be God's witnesses. Impossible task? Well, whose name stands behind us? And by whose power do we go? Same God at the burning bush who helped Moses lead the people out of Israel and out of Egypt and into the promised land. Remember that the next time you're a little bit leery about sharing your faith. Next time you're just frustrated because you've tried so many times, and maybe it's a child of yours, maybe it's a son or daughter, maybe it's somebody you know, and you just feel like giving up. Remember under whose name you go. The I am God, same one that appears to Moses here in Exodus chapter 3. Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. He led the flock to the far side of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I'll go over and see this strange sight, why the bush doesn't burn up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I've come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians, to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Perizzites, and the Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So go now, I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, up out of Egypt. Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you, and this will be a sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people up out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, What is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name by which I am remembered from generation to generation." The word of our Lord. God richly bless you in this week ahead.